Denver Broncos pass rusher Nik Bonitto is rapidly ascending into NFL stardom. After a breakout season that led to a second-team All-Pro selection in 2024, Bonitto is off to an even more impressive start in 2025, leading the NFL with 7 sacks in just 5 games. While Bonitto is now a household name in the NFL, it's not like he was this all-world prospect coming out of Oklahoma in 2022. Bonitto left the Sooners as a second and third team All-American with second team All-Big 12 selections in back-to-back years before foregoing his senior season to declare for the NFL draft. The production in college was solid with 18.5 career sacks, but there were plenty of concerns about Bonitto's frame as an undersized 6'3", 240-pound edge prospect. Those size concerns, along with questions about Bonitto's play strength and ability to stop the run, led to him being taken 64th overall in the 2022 NFL Draft by the Denver Broncos. That pick has looked like an absolute steal for Denver. In the middle of his 4th NFL season, Bonitto already has 30 career sacks with 4 forced fumbles and a pair of defensive touchdowns, both of which came last season. As if last year's second-team All-Pro selection wasn't enough, Bonitto looks even more dominant in 2025. On top of his league-leading 7 sacks, Bonitto is also tied for 5th in pressures and 1st in Pro Football Focus's pass rush productivity metric. All of this dominance from Bonitto this season and last has had me thinking about when the last time the NFL saw an undersized pass rusher be such a dominant force. And the first name that came to mind was a Green Bay Packers legend in Clay Matthews. That might be because there's a picture of Clay Matthews behind me in every video that I record. But still, I'm being serious. Matthews was just 230 pounds at one point while playing in college for the USC Trojans, and while he gradually added weight at the NFL level, he still was a significantly undersized edge for the Packers. That didn't stop him from being a breakout star in Green Bay, earning 6 Pro Bowl and 2 All-Pro selections over an 11-year career that included 91.5 sacks, 17 forced fumbles, and a Super Bowl ring. The pass rush production between Bonitto and Matthews is already similar, with the Packers legend having 29.5 sacks heading into his 4th year. It's not just the statistical production and being smaller edges, but the athletic profiles for these two guys are really eerily similar. Mock Draftable does a great job turning athletic testing scores in the pre-draft process into percentiles, and just look at these webs from Mock Draftable for both Matthews and Bonitto. Both are historically undersized at the edge position, but posted outstanding scores in athletic testing, and have very similar numbers as far as the 20-yard shuttle, the 40-yard dash, the 10-yard split within the 40-yard dash. In fact, according to Mock Draftable, the second closest athletic comp for Clay Matthews in their database is Nik Bonitto. Most NFL fans may not be totally locked in on Bonitto's game, but this guy is really becoming a game-changing pass rusher for the Broncos, much like Matthews was in his prime for Green Bay. With that, let's dive into Bonitto's film from Sunday's big win over the Philadelphia Eagles to give you a better idea of what makes him so dominant and makes him so similar to Clay Matthews in today's Shades of edition of Best Available. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel on YouTube and follow us at Best Available YT. Leave a comment as well if you have a comp for Nik Bonitto yourself that you think is really fitting of his game. And let me know if you think Clay Matthews is pretty close, because, I watched a lot of him back in my day. I really do think this is an appropriate comp. With that in mind, let's dive into the film today on the Denver Broncos star pass rusher. I've been tempted to make a Nik Bonitto video for a minute, but I think the reason I'm glad we're doing it now is because we really get some good on good film. This is a game where he's going against one of the best left tackles in football in Jordan Mailata. And you can tell that the Eagles really, really respects Bonitto as far as how they wanted to handle him. Because in this situation, we do have a pass play. We are putting 2 tight ends to Mailata's side to force Bonitto to bump out even wider. Like wide 9 alignment, which is usually pretty dang wide, is probably where Kylan Granson is right here. We're going wide from that. Like, look at all of the space just to get to Mailata. And we're just doing this to force a tougher angle for Bonitto. He is such an explosive, speedy, bendy rusher, and we're going to see that right here. We're going to try and ship him with to the tight end Granson as 81 Calcaterra goes out into his route. But we're going to notice Bonitto, just to clarify, is right here. The speed which he gets around this chip attempt just to dip under that, and then to get to Mailata, and then he is going to look at that pad level, that bend, that ankle flexibility, to get underneath this, dip under a lengthy former professional rugby player who's now, again, a premier left tackle. And, he gets pushed off his, line a little bit, but it is forcing Jalen Hurts to step up in the pocket. And if we roll this clip again, great bend there, great bend there. If Hurts is not stepping up and feeling this pressure, he is getting a strip sack. We need to force Hurts off his spot, especially as a passer. For all of his athletic, accomplishments and how successful he's been, if you can get him disrupted in the pocket, his passing does take a bit of a hit. So here we're getting him off his spot. Hurts feels the pressure. He steps up. Yes, he delivers an open throw, but it's an underneath throw. We're not taking a big shot. I'm just so impressed with the bend twice. Like, we're winning with speed twice here. This isn't so much as a chipped attempt as an honest block attempt before delayed release from Granson. It's just the ability to bend around both those blocks and not lose that angle. And then watch Mailata and how prepared he is, knowing that how big of a threat Bonitto is. He is so quickly getting into that pass set. If he's taking a little bit off because he just expects the tight ends to help and it's such a wide alignment, this is a dangerous play for the Eagles offense. I'm just so impressed with the way Bonitto moves, how low he is. Yes, he's a smaller guy, but to have that kind of bend and get Hurts throwing off platform without his feet being set, stepping up into the pocket, it may not seem like a whole lot. That is an awfully impressive rep. I don't think I was totally prepared for Bonitto's ability to transition speed to power. This is a guy that I did watch a lot at Oklahoma heading into the draft, and it was one of my concerns. I was like, I'm not sure if he has, a complete bull rush, especially for his athletic profile. Does not seem to be an issue for him. Again, we got wide 9 alignment. He is, got plenty of width between him and Mailata. And this allows him to do a couple things. He can either win with speed around the edge, or he can convert that speed and attack when you're not suspecting it into a power or bull rush. And this is a great example of the effectiveness of that. So he is going for speed. Once he has that head of steam, he's going to attack with a long arm. You want to get that arm above your eyes or the hand above your eyes, have a forward lean, and drive your legs to push that lineman back. The reason we do this on a speed to power, you're ideally hoping that the lineman is so focused on gaining depth, he's not prepared to lose ground this way, and we can create an off-balance lineman and, generate push in the pocket, which Bonitto does perfectly here to the point where Hurts is not able to step up into the pocket or into this throw. Now, the interior pressure on this side does a nice job of that as well, right there with number 0. But it's a great job from Bonitto to also cave in so that, there's no place for Hurts to escape. We have disruption here so Hurts can't step up, and we have a solid push in the pocket against one of the best anchors in football, in Jordan Mailata, to generate that push as a sub 250-pound edge, to generate that speed into power, collapse that pocket. You can see as Hurts is throwing this, that is not a comfortable platform for him to throw this ball. By the time the ball is out, if we can pause it at the exact right moment. I mean, does that look like a clean throwing platform to you? His hands hitting the tackle? That is a genuine impressive pass rush from the Broncos. Hell of a throw from Hurts. It was ruled incomplete, but that is just a great effort from him as well. But I am surprised Bonitto, this small edge, can convert speed to power like this and push that pocket backwards. This is a great example to show you that, Bonitto is absolutely on the opponent's game plan constantly because the entire O-line is always hyper-focused on him. We're going to have a simple twist stunt here. What we're going to do, number 99 is going to cave in, get outside, and then we're going to bounce this inside just to create some confusion, and it is successful. It's the gravity that Bonitto brings on these twists, stunts. So you can see 99 is focused on getting on the inside shoulder of Mailata and just trying to distract this guard enough to, carry him. And Bonitto's hoping the guard is so distracted that he can get an A-gap pressure on Hurts. The guard recognizes it, turns his head. By the time he turns his head, Mailata is slowed to react to Bonitto because he's so hyper-focused on Bonitto, so that Mailata is now in a losing position. This guard has to recover and get Bonitto, and it leaves the defensive lineman completely open to get a hit on Hurts as he throws. That is the kind of gravity Bonitto brings. Mailata's hyper-focused on him, and it's too late to react to this. And this guy's hyper-focused so that he picks up without realizing that 99 is going to get free. It's a really well done stunt. You can utilize Bonitto on these because he's so quick and shifty and can run these so late. It's a really, really nice play from the Broncos to, generate confusion on the O-line because of the gravity that Bonitto brings as a pass rusher. This was a play from earlier in the game, but I wanted to show it in the middle of the video, so we didn't start on a necessarily negative foot, but it's one of those I like talking about in these videos of plays that we just don't know what the call is. I'm never going to be the guy that pretends to know it all. I just don't think that's how football works. There's so much going on internally that we don't know, but this is a good example of what I think happened. We're going to have a read option with A.J. Dillon either running this or Hurts running this based on the decision from Bonitto. Bonitto is going to crash all the way on the running back, and I'll show you why I think this was intentional and not a discipline issue. We're going to have a motion, and then we're going to run this real quick. We are intentionally leaving Bonitto on an island, right? And then we're going to have the tight end coming across the formation. Hurts is going to keep it and pull, and then throw that, arrow or slice. If this is just a true read option, I think the play call here, and this is a lose-lose situation for this linebacker. What I believe is happening, I don't know is happening, is on a read option like this, the Broncos scheme is for Bonitto to charge the running back, and this linebacker on the backside scrapes over and picks up Hurts. I just think this is a bad play from this linebacker that's kind of stuck in the mud because he thinks he's reading running back, and then he misses the tight end, and then he's slow to react to Hurts. That's what I think happened. I just wanted to provide this play as another context of, I think it's important on a channel like this that we don't pretend like we know everything. I don't think that is our mission statement is a better way to football. I think a better way to football is sometimes acknowledge that we don't know everything. But I think this is an interesting concept of, if this is the defensive scheme, which I think it is let the end crash the running back and scrape over. I'm just not sure if this linebacker, how his responsibilities change when the tight end crosses. And even if that responsibility does change, is he just stuck in the mud and distracted by everything else going on? This is a really fun blitz call. We have this double mugged look with the linebackers. They're crept up instead of playing from depth back here. So that's what we call mugged up on the center. And then we're going to have this motion from this wide receiver over here. And if you notice, we have Talanoa Hufanga right here and Bonitto right here. So we're playing from a wide alignment. And this is a really fun blitz concept because as we run this, both mugged up linebackers are going to get into zone drops, and we're going to blitz Hufanga. And what I like, I've seen this a couple times this year. The first time I saw it was the Clemson LSU college game, where we have a DB, instead of rushing outside, go through the B gap. And I think it helps because Bonitto's playing such a wide alignment, and we talked about gravity. Mailata is forced to stick to him on here, and then Hufanga goes through the B gap, and then he is right in the way of this throwing window. And then he breaks that up. And it is a designed, it almost looks like a delayed screen or a Texas route. It is a screen. I can see the lineman coming up here, second level. So we're going to come across this formation, and theoretically, this is the right play to throw at this screen or this blitz with Hufanga. But it's a nice job from Hufanga to get in that blitz gap. This play is not totally on Bonitto, but because of that alignment and that gravity of forcing Mailata to get depth, it creates this blitz window for Hufanga to get in the throwing lane and break that pass up. Great play by Hufanga. Does not haul it in, but I still like the blitz concept of, potentially showing pressure inside and then bringing this guy from the boundary. Just really fun concept all around. Enjoyed it. It's a successful play for the Broncos defense. Sometimes plays just come down to pure motor, and that I think Bonitto personifies that as such an undersized guy. We have this really interesting far twist concept where we are going inside, and then looping this far defensive lineman around. But we got to pay attention to Bonitto. He's crossing Mailata's face, and then this is all bunched up by this twist. They're trying to trade it off. All of this is jumbled by the O-line. Mailata has to get too far inside and then react to that twist coming outside, so he has to trade off. And by that time, because Bonitto's so relentless, he just finds a way to squeak through all of that noise and get to Hurts for a big sack. Maybe a little violent of a twist. Man, that's your college teammate from Oklahoma. Why are you being so violent here? I appreciate that he wants the sack. I was just kind of surprised by that twist at the end. Again, guy that you've played with on a pretty damn good Sooners team made me laugh a little bit. but a hell of a play from Bonitto. This is just, again, especially as an edge or a pass rusher, you are going to get sacked sometimes just by pure effort and motor. And I think Bonitto really personifies that here. He could have just stopped rushing or just, taken it a little easy because his job is to just create confusion and let this guy loop around. But he's just fighting through all of the gunk and makes his way to the quarterback. One of the things I really like about how the Broncos utilize Bonitto, who is right here, like, yes, he is an extremely valuable pass rusher, but because of his size and speed and fluidity, he can be used as a zone dropper. And I know a lot of teams may not want to use their most valuable pass rusher in contexts like this. I think it's important because, especially in a look where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, it creates a lot of confusion. And, maybe you're just presuming that they're always rushing Bonitto and you want to slide the line and the protection to his side. This kind of look creates all kinds of confusion. And after we motion out A.J. Brown, we drop a couple unsuspecting guys. We drop here and then we drop Bonitto. And I like Bonitto on zone drops. He seems to be very comfortable with it because if you watch, he is gaining depth and looking at the quarterback, but then he peeks to see the route combination right here. He sees here into a slant. Because we're playing this soft, it looks like quarters. I can't see the corner that's presumably down here, but it looks like a quarter shell just from what we're seeing right here. So Bonitto has to read anything underneath. He has great eyes there, sees the top of the drop, and that Hurts is winding up to throw, so he breaks on that route. Really nice job not letting Devontae Smith have any time to move on third down, only for a couple yards, makes it fourth down. Love the heads-up play. Like, this is... I coached linebackers for a couple of years. I think this is really, really good stuff as far as reading your drop. You want to gain depth, read the quarterback's eyes, understand what's around you, and not cover grass. You want to cover receivers in your zone. Nice job breaking on that. That's a really, really good zone play from a guy that is such a premier pass rusher. And it reminds me a little bit of Clay, this guy that out of emergency and necessity had to move to off-ball linebacker for the Packers. Late in his career for one season. Very weird year, but he showed some of these instincts as well. Bonitto really battled Mailata this whole game, a guy that's just so much bigger than him. Mailata is listed at 6'8" and 365 pounds. That man's basically twice Bonitto's size. But Bonitto is absolutely fearless, and I think this is one of his most impressive rushes of the day. We talked about speed to power earlier. He's from that wide alignment. He's gaining speed. He's pretending to dip or chop under. We watch this. He's like faking that outside bend move, and then right in his chest, look at that push he generates. Just, again, he's doing it so perfectly. He's feigning the bend, and you can watch that Mailata's hips are turned. His face is way too narrow. He's way more focused on getting depth than anchoring down, and Bonitto exposes that. Good forward lean. Look at his hands. That is a really effective long arm into Jalen Hurts' lap. Blown away. Again, he's facing a guy twice his freaking size, and he just long arms him into the quarterback. It's a really savvy move to just keep getting Mailata off balance like this, generate that bull rush. Generate that bull rush and make a big play. We're going to see it again here. Same situation, wide alignment. He's going to throw the long arm again here. I like, again, he's just toying with Mailata at this point. It's like, hey, am I going to go around you? Am I going to go through you? And then look at that kind of technique. Like, he is getting mauled here. His hands are above his eyes. He's got really good forward lean. He is driving his legs. And by the time this ball is out, Bonitto is almost there. He is just a split second off. But it's at that point, it just feels like Bonitto's toying with this 365-pound giant. And again, as a sub 250-pound edge rusher, you were not expecting that kind of strength to come from this guy. He just has such a good feel of when to throw that long arm and really create problems in the pocket. Last one for the day isn't too meaningful. It's just, I think, a great example of what Bonitto was doing to Mailata the whole game. At this point, Mailata throughout the game is like, is he going to try to win with speed? Do I need to anchor down? He's just thinking about all of these different ways he's going to have to face Bonitto. Bonitto commits to the speed rush, so hips are fully turned, trying to push him around the pocket. Look how low. Look at this angle around the pocket Bonitto is getting. There are not many edges that can take this tight of a path to the quarterback. And Bonitto feels that he's just going to get pushed outside of Hurts. He's going to get pushed around the pocket. So instead, Bonitto just hits him with a spin. and just dirts him on the ground. And yes, the ball's out by this time, but I think this is the perfect encapsulation to the game Bonitto had, is like, even against the best, like the cream of the crop tackles, he is keeping you guessing so much that by the end of the game, you're just falling on the ground. It is a masterpiece of a game from Bonitto, who had 2.5 sacks against Jordan Mailata and this Eagles offensive line that is so highly regarded. It is just a testament to just how far this tiny ass kid from Oklahoma has come. There really aren't many players like Bonitto. Clay Matthews really is the only comparison that comes to mind as one of these undersized pass rushers that just becomes, a focal point of a defense. And you can tell that the Eagles really respected him with the way they were trying to play him. Very impressed. I think this guy is an absolute star. I don't think he's getting the recognition he deserves. Maybe it's because it's Denver. Maybe it's because there's so many pieces on that defense right now, including the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in Pat Surtain. There's a lot of reasons, but I do think by the end of this year, if he ends up leading the league in sacks by week 18, I think he's going to get the recognition he deserves. So let me know what you think of Bonitto in the comments. We'll be back on Friday with a mock draft. I finally got about 40 guys graded on the consensus big board. I think it's close-ish to the top 40. So we'll do a mock draft, have some fun with that. And until next time, we'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Best available.